Hey friends, my name is Matthew Cicero, and I have a very powerful message for you today. You know, over the last 5 to 7 years, many people have been approaching me and asking me, Matthew, what specifically are you doing to conquer multiple sclerosis? You look terrific, you seem to enjoy a vibrant, dynamic life. What specifically are you doing? And so I want to bring this message to you today because I know around the world, hundreds of thousands and millions of people are suffering not just from multiple sclerosis, but all sorts of chronic illnesses, all sorts of chronic autoimmune diseases like Crohn's disease and rheumatoid arthritis, Parkinson's disease. And the message I'm about to deliver today is a powerful one. I believe it can help you. My story, in short, is, you know, I had a very successful life, but as I approached the age of 40, I noticed things were going very, very wrong. My body was out of balance. I started to exhibit symptoms that a 40-year-old should not have, right? I became fatigued on a regular basis. Not ordinary tired, but so fatigued that some mornings I couldn't get out of bed. My legs felt like anchors. Many afternoons I would have to take a nap. I couldn't get through the business day, right? The simple act of commuting was too much for me. It left me exhausted. I would wake up after an 8-hour night's sleep, still tired. I became forgetful. I had slight vision problems and I definitely had some speech problems. I couldn't remember simple things. I would be watching a movie and I know the actor, a very famous one, and I could probably tell you the movies that he or she was in, but I couldn't recall the actor's name. This is not normal stuff, right? And I went through a series of diagnostic testing and so on and so forth, and over a protracted period of time, it was determined that I had what the doctors called secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. Guys, this was a punch in the stomach to me. This was a devastating blow. I'm at the pinnacle of my career. All my investments, my hard work in starting a company are beginning to pay dividends, and now I'm dealt this. In my case, it was especially powerful because my big brother, my hero, right? I'm the youngest one in the family. My brother's 7 years older than me. He had already been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. He was now in a wheelchair, and I witnessed my mom and dad have their heart broken by seeing this big, strapping, gun-toting New York City cop, be reduced to living in a wheelchair where he was incapable of doing most all the basic things that we need to do to live a productive life. And so now I'm wrestling with, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't want to break my parents' heart all over again. I'm keeping this to myself. I'm suffering, as a result, huge amount of guilt, right? My parents would visit, they'd see me fall down and say, what's going on? And I would pretend like nothing is wrong. Oh, I just tripped, right? They would see me exhausted and I'd say, no, I'm just going to take a power nap, right? I was their youngest son. I had achieved a lot of success. I was, in their eye, the golden boy. And the last thing I wanted to do as my mother was entering the early stages of dementia, I didn't want to break their heart again. My dad was so proud of me when he would come and visit and see everything. So can you imagine the guilt? Right? Because on the surface, when you have an autoimmune disease like multiple sclerosis, let's face it, on the surface, you look pretty good, right? Right? People don't know what you're suffering. They don't understand, and they can't visibly see the things that you are wrestling with. It was horrible, filled with all sorts of guilt. Right? So I've been on a mission now for 17 years to conquer, to cure myself of this illness. Because I'll tell you, my brother eventually died from it, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart because I felt so helpless. Right? There were so many things I wanted to do for him because I reached out. I took a very active role in my disease. I researched everything. I took all the best that the West has to offer. But then I expanded my mind, and I integrated Eastern philosophy and Eastern medicine and Eastern techniques. Right? I examined, I did research, I looked at biologists and what does the body need? Because I got tired of injecting myself with medicines every week. I was taking Avonex. It was painful. The side effects were brutal. I was exhausted all the time. I was addicted to prescription and non-prescription over-the-counter medication. And I said, there has to be a better way. And I watched my brother in the last chapter of his life. He was ugly. And I watched the people around him. I saw my sister-in-law go from a loving wife and mother to taking on the role of a healthcare provider now. And then she also had to go back to work to become an income earner. And I saw my brother's authority whittle away to nothing towards the end. And I said, I don't want this for myself. There has to be a better way. And so many people have approached me asking that. Right? So this has been my mission. What I'm going to share with you today is what I've discovered, right? Your body needs 90 essential minerals and vitamins. I'm going to leave all this information for you on the website. I will tell you something. I've never asked anyone my entire life to do things that I myself have not done. And in this last part of my curing, if you will, of this illness, I discovered huge benefits to giving your body what it needs. Your body is a living thing. It's made up of a trillion individual cells. And there are 90 essential vitamins and minerals that are necessary to sustain that, to promote health and well-being. I'm putting all that information here on the website. This is what I do. I'm putting it on the video. And since I've done those things, I am feeling terrific, right? I no longer wake up exhausted. I wake up after a peaceful night's sleep, filled with energy. I'm no longer suffering achiness. My joints, my bones, I feel that spring is back in my step. I'm no longer suffering the leg spasms that I used to suffer at night, the muscle cramps. And if you have multiple sclerosis, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I'm starting to swim again. I'm doing all the things I used to be able to do. And so I'm bringing this to you because I want this to be a story of hope and inspiration. So if you have, as so many people have approached me, if you have family or loved ones that are suffering from these illnesses, please take a look at me. Right? You have nothing to lose. I want you to try these for 90 days. Give your body what it needs. Right? There's nothing to lose here. These are not expensive. It's the basics. It's getting right back to the basics. Giving your body the 90 essential. Look up that word. Essential means you can't live without it. Right? Two of the most common ones are oxygen and water. You wouldn't think of breathing one day and not the next. You wouldn't think of drinking water one day but not the next. Well, those are 2 out of 90 essential vitamins and minerals. You know, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's the one-a-days and there's the food supplements. But listen, you need all 90 essential minerals and vitamins. Around the world, people are routinely living well into their hundreds. Not infirm, not in nursing homes, not dependent upon others, but independent, strong lives. They're living well into the hundreds. Your body was designed that way, provided you give it what it requires. So this is my story, this has been my discovery, and this is what I want to deliver to you today. My name is Matthew Locicero. I hope you listen to my message. I want to see you take action and give yourself a fighting chance. Take care now.